Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news of an important advance for fuel cell cars. But first, in the US, new applications for unemployment benefits unexpectedly fell last week, while producer prices rose strongly in April, pointing to a tightening labour market and rising inflation. And that will cause the Fed to raise rates in June. And the head of the New York Fed again signalled that the US central bank is closer to reducing its reservoir of QE bonds, or gradually removing monetary policy accommodation, as he puts it. In China, its $1.7 trillion government bond market is under new stress. The yield on longer-term 10-year debt fell below that for the shorter-term 5-year debt. That inverse yield curve usually signals trouble, that a painful correction is coming. Ironically, some of the traders blame the shift on Beijing's efforts to reduce financial risk. In Canada, ratings agency Moody's has cut the credit ratings of all their major banks by one notch. It was the first downgrade in more than 4 years, signalling that soaring household debt combined with runaway housing prices leaves the lenders more vulnerable to losses. Moody's still has their outlook as negative on all 6 lenders. The downgrade, however, still leaves the ratings one notch higher than New Zealand's main banks. In Europe, they have raised their forecast for economic growth, another sign most countries are enjoying an extension of the long gradual expansion post the GFC. In Australia, a new process to produce pure hydrogen looks to rival batteries as an energy source for cars. Japan is making a major commitment to hydrogen power, and the Aussie process makes it far easier to distill the fuel. Economical fuel cell cars may be closer than we think, emitting only water vapour. And staying in Australia, foreign investment in their housing surged almost 20% in dollar terms last year, with Chinese buying accounting for well over half the total. Foreigners were allowed to buy $80 billion in residential property in 2015-16, but in transaction number terms, it was a 9% rise to 40,100. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield is pretty much unchanged at 2.40%. The price of oil is marginally firmer. US crude benchmark is still just over $47.50 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is just over $50.50 a barrel. OPEC has raised its forecast for 2017 oil production growth from countries outside the cartel by more than 60%. It is the latest evidence that rapidly rising American production is undermining OPEC's efforts to raise oil prices by curbing their output. Gold is unchanged at $1,220 an ounce, and New Zealand dollar is lower than this time yesterday after the RBNZ OCR review. It is now at 68.5 US cents. On the cross rates, the Kiwi is at 92.9 Aussie cents and 63 Euro cents. The TWI is at 73.7. I'm David Chaston, and that was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.